Tonight on Ctv3 News, government tables revised salary adjustment proposal in effort to end negotiation deadlock. Unions acknowledge improved government proposal. Membership expected to vote in the coming days. Major drug bust in Belize City leads to the arrest of one person. And ongoing breast ultrasound training initiative expands early detection access across the country. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Thursday, June 26, 2025.
I welcome you to the graduation of our first cohort, as well as the launch of our second cohort of the project entitled Increasing Economic Power for Micro-Entrepreneurs.
Through this bilateral collaboration, the Women's Empowerment Project, over the past 4 years, we have witnessed numerous women entrepreneurs making significant strides and fulfilling their potential. There are so many inspiring stories that encourage us to continue doing this.
We can celebrate 74 women that will graduate from round 1 of our ministry's Increasing Economic Power for Micro-Entrepreneurs project, and at the same time we're welcoming an additional 60 women entrepreneurs who will participate in round 2. To the women here today, you are the brains, you are the hearts, and the hands of this initiative, and you are the reason why we are here. Let this be a reminder that your voice matters, that your work matters, and that your economic empowerment is a national priority.
Good evening. With your news also simulcast on Face FM 106.7, I am Joanna Rodriguez. The government of Belize has presented a revised salary adjustment proposal to the joint unions negotiating team, JUNT, marking the third formal offer aimed at resolving weeks of stalled negotiations with public sector unions. After the outright rejection of the government's second proposal, both parties returned to the negotiating table today at the IT Vet compound in Belize City, where union representatives reviewed the updated offer. Central to the new proposal is an 8.5% salary adjustment to be phased in over 2 years, along with the reinstatement of 2 frozen salary increments, also made over a period of 2 years. This latest proposal, according to Deputy Prime Minister Honorable Cordell Hyde, seems to have caught the attention of the unions, who will now take the proposal to their membership.
I think they've been fair. They were fair. I think we had a great discussion. I don't want to prejudice whatever they have to do in terms of going back to their membership. I always try to avoid that. I always prefer for them to take it back to their membership. But I suffice to say that the government has committed to the 8.5% from the get-go. We're committed to it, absolutely, along with the 2 frozen increments over the next 2 years. So there are other stuff, but ultimately, hopefully, that they are able to get their membership to support, and we reach past this impasse, so to speak.
Was there an increase from the 4% position?
Yeah, it's actually going to be 4.5%, October 1st of this year. Yeah, so which is more than half of the original request of 8.5%.
With this proposal, DPM Hyde says the hope is that the union membership can see the seriousness of the government side to end the ongoing impasse.
Our work is not tied in the sense of you have to do this to get this. No, but it's about ensuring that we continue that work. We have 3 joint committees, Cost Savings Committee, Revenue Enhancement Committee, and Pension Reform Committee. And those committees have been working. That work continues. It's about ensuring that they continue that work in earnest and try to expedite that process. We've discussed pension for a long time. For 20 years, they've been discussing pension. We spent a lot of time over the last 5 years doing that too. But it's not subjected to that. The offer is 8.5% over 2 years, including 2 frozen increments over 2 years. And you know, for us to continue that work, and because ultimately that has to be mutually agreed. Like the efforts in cost savings, the effort at revenue enhancement, the efforts at pension reform, those are mutually agreed. It's not like a top-down kind of thing. We have joint committees that work in earnest. That it's about making sure that they expedite that work and take it seriously, because we are serious about that. Man, I'm hoping for good news. I mean, it's been a rough 6 weeks. I don't suffer these things too well, you know, because I thought after our first meeting that we had a framework that could work, but obviously that didn't work. We went back to the table several times, and hopefully this is it, man. I'm praying for the best.
Is the government now pushing beyond the margins of what it can afford?
Man, this is it. We are hopeful that the membership will see that we've acted in good faith. We'll see that we've delivered on their demands, on their requests. We'll see that we are doing our best. And we didn't get here overnight. It took us a while for us to reach this point where we can say, okay, this is what we are going to be able to do, and this is a timeline, and we've spelled out them very clearly the timeline in terms of how we are going to get those stuff done over the next 2 years.
Union leaders are expected to consult their membership on the proposal ahead of a planned national demonstration scheduled for this Saturday. The hope, according to DPM Hyde, is that this latest good faith proposal would put a halt to any planned actions by the unions in short order.
I can't speak to that. I would hope.
Instead of you expect?
I would hope not. You know, we have so much work to do, and it took us a while to get here, but we are here. I think we have something that we can work with. We are partners, man. We are partners. We have to be. We're not enemies. We cannot be. And it's about, you know, continuing to work at the government and people. And you know, I don't have control over that. But if I had a wish, I'd say don't.
As previously mentioned, the latest government proposal includes an 8.5% salary increase over 2 years, with an initial amount of 4.5%, which would come into effect on October of this year. Following the government of Belize's submission of a revised salary adjustment proposal, the joint unions negotiating team, JUNT, has acknowledged that the offer represents a notable improvement over previous proposal. Union leaders confirmed today that the new terms will be taken to their general membership for a vote over the weekend. The updated proposal, tabled during negotiations earlier today, includes an 8.5% salary adjustment to be phased in over 2 years, with an initial 4.5% increase set to take effect in October 2025. It also includes the reinstatement of 2 previously frozen increments, key demands from public officers and teachers throughout the negotiation process.
Good faith discussions by the government team. They were not here in their territory today, but I think that they had adequate and good representation. And as usual, as much as we all possibly can, we maintain respect and good cordial conversation. And so that would be my immediate reaction, that it was a good meeting.
Well, were you amenable to accept the proposal, the counter proposal?
Well, I only have one vote in the PSU, so it's not whether or not I'm amenable, but it's more so whether my membership will be amenable. But the government did as they had committed to, submitted another counter proposal, and that matter I'm hoping will be presented to our membership at the very earliest. It's an improved proposal. It's an improved proposal, and it's a proposal that our membership will be that we will present to our membership, and we hope that we can break the impasse. We were reminded today with the presence of the Minister of Labour, who came as an observer, that the 21 days expires on Sunday. So between now and Sunday, we need to find a resolution.
However, union leaders were quick to emphasize that the possible acceptance of the salary package should not be interpreted as a retreat from other pressing issues that remain on the table under its collective bargaining negotiations. These include broader reforms related to pension, cost of living adjustments, and good governance.
For me, it's up to the membership. It is key because we are lobbying on their behalf. It's up to them. They did not budget for it, and so what they're doing is that they presented a plan that they believe that they can afford during this time between this year and next year, and it's up to them to decide if they want to accept that.
Once again, the Prime Minister, like the FinSec, has insinuated that if we don't win, well, the taxpayers don't have to pay. They will, which includes you guys as well, taxes will go up. When you hear these sorts of comments, do you feel like the government is acting in bad faith?
Every time, and I've been around the union for like 30 years, every single time we ask for an adjustment, they threaten us with taxes. So that's a strategy that is not even here nor there for me. What we do know is that we ask the government side whether or not this will result in new taxes. And one of the things they said to us, that is not a part of their discussion at all. That's the reason why they're offering it to us 4.5 and 4, because they're looking at what they can afford at this time since they did not budget for it. This is what I want to say to the public. You see the other issues we're talking about? Those are under the CBA. All right? So we can't run away from that. And the CBA is not something to snap your finger and you address. And the public needs to understand that. The other thing is that while we acknowledge the support and we thank them very much for the support and we pray that they continue to support us, the decision of the 4.5 and the 4 is up to the membership of the unions. That is key. And if they accept that, then you don't hate them for it. You don't go against them for that if they accept that, because there are other issues on hand that we have to address to the CBA that we need to begin like yesterday to deal with. For me, my teachers are talking about class size. Those allowances that they're getting is nothing. All right? And we're talking about tax reform, all of those things. Those things are very important, and we need to get to the table to address those things. So I don't want the public think that when my membership decides what they want, and then they say, oh, nobody said, oh, there are too many issues to address, and we have to address them.
The union say the decision now rests with their members, who will meet in various forums across the country this weekend to review and vote on the government's offer. Despite the outcome of those votes, the union says Belizeans can expect Saturday's march to proceed as planned by the NTUCB. In a landmark effort to strengthen women's health and expand access to breast wellness, the Ministry of Health and Wellness has partnered with the Office of the Special Envoy, Cancer Society groups across the country, and Dr. Shanine Sashidina, a breast surgeon from Florida, USA, to conduct ongoing point-of-care triage breast ultrasound training across Belize.
The ongoing breast wellness initiative being carried out under the theme "If you feel something, say something," is focused on empowering local healthcare providers with the skills and tools necessary to offer timely and accurate breast assessments in clinical settings nationwide. It is a critical step forward in ensuring breast wellness and early detection for all women, particularly those in underserved and rural communities. Dr. Sachedina, who specializes in breast surgery and is passionate about global women's health, has made a generous donation of 5 portable ultrasound units and associated medical equipment to the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The equipment, valued at over $400,000, is already being utilized in healthcare facilities to support this training initiative.
When I retired in December, somebody I had known that was working with the Belize Cancer Society asked me if I could help in any way. And so when I actually met with them, I realized there were these huge gaps that were here in Belize in the healthcare of patients with the early detection of breast cancer. And so what I did was I actually donated ultrasounds throughout the country of Belize, and I worked with the Ministry of Health to identify where about 85% of the women were. And so I designed this initiative with this campaign, If You Feel Something, Say Something. The idea is, why I'm here today, is through the Ministry of Health, what we have done is create this initiative to be on the ground at 5 different hospitals throughout Belize. We are training nurses, doctors, and other paraprofessionals to identify cancers and high-risk lesions in women. And so when a woman feels something, she needs to say something. And this is a breast wellness campaign. This is literally to teach women how to be proactive. And so, like, if you're going to get your blood pressure checked, or if you're going to get checked for diabetes, you need to get checked for breast wellness. And all of this is for the people of Belize. And in reality, if we can identify women who have any problems whatsoever to come into the healthcare system, they will get a quick assessment, and those patients who have high-risk lesions will be put to the front of the line. And so that is the reason we're here. We're here to promote breast wellness as part of any other wellness initiative. The goal is to have more people trained so that they can actually impact. But none of this is possible if the people of Belize do not help themselves.
The training program is focused in 5 main areas across the country, including the Northern Regional Hospital here in Orange Rock Town, and seeks to equip doctors, nurses, and technicians with hands-on experience using state-of-the-art ultrasound technology.
Where are you now? It's very poor. Honestly, I can tell you in the United States, 1 in 8 women get breast cancer in their lifetime. In Belize, we have no numbers. We have people dying in the villages, right? And so we have no numbers. So it's very imperative that we redo all of this. So literally my role here has been to redo the entire breast wellness program. I have word and a commitment from the Ministry of Health that a cancer registry will be done. That is imperative because once we get data, we will be able to impact even more. So to answer your question, where are you now? Things are behind. However, I will tell you, and I'm extremely hopeful, that this program that has been to these other institutions have really already shown their impact. And I know that if we get a commitment from the people of Belize to come in and get your breast wellness done, and if we have a commitment from the healthcare sector to do what they're supposed to do, there is great hope that we will be able to impact. I will give you a quick story. So yesterday when I finished with my training session, one of the young women said, "Oh, I have a friend. Can you just come with me? I just want to practice on her." And I said, "Sure." So I went into the room. So this young lady had a mass, and it looks like it's a cancer. That person that I trained identified it on the ultrasound while I was there. And I told her, let's go ahead and scan the rest of the breast and let's look in the armpit. And sure enough, she looks like she has spread to a lymph node already. And so it's already impacting, right? In the very first session I did, right after I was done with that team, they also had somebody from their friend circle, I guess, that they needed to check. So they checked her, and guess what? They also found a solid lesion. But that person doesn't look like she has a cancer. It looks like a fibroadenoma. So now what happens? The patient with looks like a cancer gets pushed to the front of the line, but the second patient gets in line. And now you are actually impacting. And that's really the goal.
The hope, according to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, is to have those within the healthcare sector effectively learn how to perform breast scans, interpret images, and triage cases appropriately to ensure timely referrals and interventions, which is a vital addition to Belize's healthcare landscape.
So we want to really encourage medical practitioners to be proactive in encouraging all women in the country to check themselves and to also do clinical breast exams to just make sure everything is okay with the breast. And then this program that we're doing right now includes 5 ultrasound machines that were donated through Dr. Sachedina and the Belize Cancer Society, which have been placed at primary care locations across the country. And this is for these practitioners in these locations to be trained in order, if someone comes in with any concern about their breast, that they are there at at the point of care to be able to provide a triage and an early ultrasound, which that can then direct that patient if they need to go somewhere else for any further checkup. But we really want to encourage all women, with the support of the clinicians, to check their breasts regularly and to have good breast wellness practices in order to prevent any issues further on. We want all women to be aware of their breasts. We want them to be aware of what's happening in their bodies so that they can detect any changes that might happen, any early changes that might happen that could get checked out. And so we want all women in Belize to be proactive, to take advantage of this initiative, check themselves regularly, and if they have any concern, come into the health facilities and get their checkup done at the health facilities, so that if there is any issue with the breast, we can detect it and treat it early.
The Office of the Special Envoy, under the leadership of Special Envoy Rosanna Briceño, has played a critical role in facilitating the initiative, mobilizing support and advocating for improved access to women's health services.
Well, the Office of the Special Envoy is partnering with the Ministry of Health and Wellness in bringing Dr. Shannon to Belize, and we're happy to be a part of it because it's so important for women to understand their health, to be aware of their health. This initiative is about breast wellness, women's health, and that's something that the office is very keen to promoting. We do a lot of advocacy work, so we're happy to be here. I'm sitting in, I'm learning a lot, and we're also here to share that information so that women are empowered to take charge of their health.
Part of the training program also saw collaboration with cancer groups from across the country who also play a crucial role in breast education and wellness. Reporting for Ctv3 News, Norma Riz.
Yesterday, the Prime Minister publicly announced that efforts are underway to reduce escalating rental expenses across government departments. This development comes in response to recent revelations highlighting the significant financial burden of rental fees on public funds. Dean Flowers, president of the Public Service Union, disclosed that the government spends approximately $2.5 million annually on rental costs for various agencies. He detailed the specific monthly payments. The Immigration Department is paying $22,000 for its rental space. The Ministry of Health is shelling out $18,000, and the Public Utilities Ministry is incurring $17,000. Additionally, the Finance and Home Affairs Ministries are each allocating around $15,800 monthly for their respective rentals. The issue of high rental costs has prompted calls for the government to consider acquiring its own buildings. In particular, Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa acknowledged the urgency of the matter, stating that it's high time the government secures its own properties to reduce ongoing expenses.
We currently occupy the premises, the first floor on Constitution Drive. I believe this property belongs to Abadis. I'm not sure, I think it's Special Effects. They're the owners of the property. And just so you know, the last administration was paying more. We were able to negotiate a reduction in the amount of rent that was payable. Under COVID, thanks to COVID, we were able to get a reduction in the amount of rent. But no doubt the landlord is behind us for an increase because we are out of COVID times. So I just wanted to make that point.
Do you think it's high time we stop paying people's mortgages and paying people's loans at the banks with these rental fees and pay our own loan, if you would, by building and borrowing for our own?
I am absolutely a huge supporter, huge advocate of that position. Obviously, that is going to require a financial institution, whether a local institution or foreign institution, coming in to provide a very substantial loan, because we're looking at perhaps something in the range of $40 to $60 million to create a government campus that can house all of these offices. And so obviously that is something that we need to focus on moving forward, because I do agree that over time it's going to be worth it. And so if you can enter into a public-private partnership whereby you pay this very same rent for a period of, say, 20 to 30 years, but after that you become the owners of it, I think that is going to make a lot more sense. And so I think that is the direction that the government is going to be looking at.
The Prime Minister assured the public that measures are being actively explored to address these costs, which could lead to significant savings and more efficient use of public funds in the future. Coming up next, Supreme Court nullifies UDP expulsions, reinstates senior party members. Stay tuned.
Hola, ¿estás en tu teléfono móvil ahora mismo, navegando las redes sociales, escuchando la radio o viendo televisión? ¿Alguna vez te has detenido a pensar qué es lo que le da energía a mi dispositivo? La electricidad es esencial para nuestra vida diaria, dando energía a nuestros hogares, negocios, transporte y por supuesto esa serie que no puedes dejar de ver. Pero, ¿cómo funciona todo esto? En esta temporada de What's and Whys of Energy, te llevamos detrás de cámaras, hablando con nuestros expertos y trayéndote novedades y respuestas a tus preguntas más importantes sobre la energía. Mi nombre es Emanuel Pech y te invito a acompañarnos en vivo por Facebook y prepárate para ver la energía desde una nueva perspectiva. Dale like, comparte y síguenos para ser parte de la conversación.
Belize Electricity Limited, providing you safe and reliable power when you need it.
The Supreme Court has issued a decisive ruling reaffirming that the expulsions of several senior members of the United Democratic Party, UDP, were legally invalid. The affected individuals include prominent figures such as Honorable Tracy Tager-Panton, Honorable Patrick Faber, Beverly Williams, and John Saldivar. The ruling was delivered in response to an application filed by Honorable Panton, who sought clarity on the legality of her expulsion. The court emphasized that any actions taken in breach of established legal procedures are inherently null and void from the outset. Consequently, the court declared that the expulsions carried out by the UDP lacked any legal standing and are of no effect. As a result of the ruling, the affected members are recognized as having never been lawfully expelled from the party. They retain their full membership status along with associated rights and privileges. Authorities carried out a significant anti-drug operation on Wednesday, resulting in the seizure of over 70 pounds of suspected cannabis. The operation took place around midday and targeted illegal drugs and firearms in the Kings Park area of Belize City. At approximately 12 p.m., police officers executed a search warrant at a residence in the neighborhood. Present during the search was 24-year-old Belizean national Rebecca Marlene Daniels, who is currently unemployed. As a result, Daniels has been charged for the offense of possession of controlled drugs with intent to supply. During the search, officials uncovered a black plastic barrel containing 23 parcels of suspected cannabis, all wrapped in transparent plastic. In addition, a second container was discovered holding an additional 7 parcels similarly packaged. The total weight of the suspected cannabis was calculated to 70.5 pounds of 3 different varieties, including sour diesel, mango kush, and green crack, with an estimated street value of more than 100,000 Belize dollars. On the first day of this year's budget debate, Prime Minister John Briceño introduced the Belize Constitution 13th Amendment Bill 2025, which provides for specialized anti-crime SOEs state of emergency to be embedded in our Constitution. The PM explained that the amendment seeks to cure legality issues surrounding the government's use of the measure in ensuring public safety. He pointed to the 2 recent conflicting High Court judgments, one of which determined that the July 2020 anti-crime SOE was unlawful. As a result, 13 SOE detainees were granted a total of $372,000 in damages. The appeal of that unfavorable decision could take months, explained the PM, Hence the move towards a constitutional change, just as another SOE is ongoing. Notably, the Constitution Amendment also seeks to legalize all SOEs implemented since 2018. Section 18BA of the new bill states that the proclamations and regulations establishing the previous SOEs are deemed to be valid and effectual and lawfully done in accordance with Section 18 of this Constitution. But the bill is already surrounded by controversy, with the Belize Association of Defense Attorneys, ADA, joining the opposition and trade unions in objecting to it and even describing the bill as a threat to civil liberties and judicial independence. Despite these objections, though, Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa defended the bill when he spoke to reporters yesterday.
As you know, this is now going to be the 13th amendment to our Constitution, which obviously is a very limited amount of constitutional amendments that have been made since our independence. What we have to understand is that whenever you're making an amendment to the Constitution, whether for better or in some cases some might consider it to be for worse, there is going to be criticism from various entities, especially the opposition. But if you ask me, and it reminds me of the old Belizean saying that fisherman never send a fish stink, because when you look at the state of emergency that came under scrutiny in the Supreme Court, that was a state of emergency that was called by the United Democratic Party. And so we are the ones now having to defend that. But then you see the opposition now coming out condemning the state of emergency, quite incredibly so, having a shift in their position. And now I see the opposition criticizing this legislation. But what we have to understand is that this legislation is in large part, if not wholly, a migration of an existing law. And so if you look to the 1993 passage of legislation in the Crime Control and Criminal Justice Act, it is the exact language that you see in there that is now being migrated into the Constitution. And so this is a law by the United Democratic Party. I don't think that they realize that this is their legislation. And so it is just giving it that extra protection, that extra protective cloak by enshrining it in the Constitution, which would then make it less open to being attacked constitutionally, because it now forms part of the Constitution. States of emergencies are constitutional. They are not by nature unconstitutional. They are provided for in the Constitution. It is the application, or rather misapplication, of the states of emergencies that make them unconstitutional or not. So you have to look at each state of emergency, whether or not the rights of the parties, the rights of the detainees were respected. And so in this case, you have the very same detention of 2020 under the former administration that came under scrutiny. Two different judges came to two different conclusions. That matter obviously will have to be going through the courts up until the CCJ to get a final determination. But in the meantime, government has a responsibility, and so we have to be very decisive.
Of note is that the proposed bill is yet to enter public consultation. And there is more news after the break. Stay tuned.
The total span of the entire structure is approximately 25 meters, and it also has an overall width of 12.5 meters, which includes 2 lanes and also 2 pedestrian footpaths of 2 meters each. The design span for this bridge is basically 75 to 100 years, so that's the expectation of its life.
It's $2.4 million to complete the bridge, and we also did the boat ramp. We had to incur a little bit additional expense because we did the pontoon to be able to allow the residents to be able to cross while we are building. Infrastructure is one of the key elements for economic development. It allows people to generate more income. It does so many things. It will open the whole area for free flow of traffic. It gives you safety, and we're allowing, because of the height of the bridge, we're allowing now traffic of boats underneath. It will enhance the tourism product. It betters the quality of life of the neighborhood. And that's what we want to do. We are here to serve the people, and these projects is a symbol of that.
I wish to announce the renaming of the new bridge, not in a spirit of resentment towards our colonial history, but to honor an individual who truly reflected the country's identity, aspirations, and progress.
It's good, I would say good, and people will be happy to see a new bridge.
I'm very, very elated that this bridge has finally been realized for the people of today. It will change a lot. We'll move better, we'll move faster, and some people might even stop and take pictures because they're a pretty bridge, they're a nice bridge. I like the bridge.
From the minute I heard about it, something that I personally wanted done, this is a welcome news for Punta Gorda.
With the final school bells ringing across the country today, thousands of children are now officially on summer break, and that means the start of a season filled with learning, laughter, and adventure. To help parents and communities keep children engaged in meaningful ways, the Growing the Future project is preparing to launch an exciting lineup of summer programs designed to blend education with fun. The initiative, which aims to foster creativity, confidence, and critical thinking in your minds, is rolling out a series of camps and community events across the country, including here in the north at the Methodist School in Corozal Town.
Well, as we make our gradual return to the north, the Corozal summer program, it will be for the first time in 11 years since we've had a program in Corozal. So we're definitely making our beginning our northern return, and we will be assisting students from standard 1 to 6 in applied language arts and math. We also, along with our program called Summer STEAM 2K25, we also have arts and craft. We have another portion of the program called Summer Fit. So that's family education tourism experience, and we take parents and kids to do site visits. We've been to the Keys. One of our main stops is usually at Gulf Ski, and then we've also done overnight camping trips. But I believe this year we'll be focusing on Gulf Ski, right? So the purpose of it is to give Belizean children, local Belizean children, an experience that they don't usually get. So we always try to get kids from different parts of the country to visit parts that they wouldn't normally do.
The event is targeted for students of all ages from Corozal Town and surrounding communities through a collaboration with Corozal Bay Area Representative Honorable Taya Garcia, who has committed to sponsor 50 children to take part in the program.
So the summer program begins July 7th. It goes to the 25th. It is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's 3 days a week for the sessions. It will be at Corozal Methodist School. And it's for all Corozal children from all primary schools and the surrounding villages. We've been as far as Pachacan, and right down with Sraibe, Chanchena, all of those villages are invited to come.
I know that this year you are also partnering with the minister there in Corozal.
Yes, Minister Tia Garcia Ramirez. She's sponsoring 50 kids, so we definitely like to thank her as the area representative for Corozal Bay, also the Minister of Human Development, right? So they definitely would like to thank her as one of the primary contributors to making our return to Corozal a definite success.
The program is scheduled to take place from July 7th to the 25th, and parents are encouraged to sign up early.
The important thing is that from the kids come to the program, they will be grouped off. So if we're looking at 25 students in a class for each session, because we're having 3 sessions. It's a morning session, 8 to 10:15, late morning around lunchtime session, which is about 10:15 to about 12:45, and then the afternoon session for the older kids, which is 1 to 3:15. When they come to the program, they will be grouped off and they will be doing project-based learning. So it's not the regular blackboard. What we have always tried to accomplish here at Growing the Future Projects, because we hire trained teachers that are in the everyday classroom, is to try techniques that you would normally have the opportunity to do during the school year because you have a mandated curriculum. Here we were able to see what's the weakness of the children, and especially it's not only the weakness in the classroom, it's about the experiences and learning everyday life skills, and that's why we say applied language arts and math, because it's things that they do in their everyday living. So they will be meeting new students. We said it's an integration of all schools in Corozal Town and surrounding villages. And they will be meeting new schoolmates. They will be getting into groups. They will be learning how to collaborate with one another. And of course, everybody has that stage fright in doing presentations, right? So it's definitely a good experience. And then at the end, when we have our certificate presentation, and then of course, parents and kids go on the trip. That
Registration can be done via the program's online portal, which can be accessed at their Facebook page at GFP Belize. Cabinet met on Tuesday, where its members received a comprehensive update during its recent session covering key developments across health, economic, and social sectors. Minister of Health and Wellness, Honorable Kevin Bernard, informed Cabinet that leaders of the Carl Houston Memorial Hospital Authority, KHMHA, have written to the Minister of Labor indicating that negotiations concerning pensions for certain workers have failed. The authority has expressed that a trade dispute now exists and is seeking the intervention of the Ministry of Labor to resolve the issue. This development highlights ongoing labor negotiations affecting healthcare workers at the National Hospital. Cabinet was also briefed on the progress of Belize's new industrial strategy, which incorporates green and blue economy policies. Developed in collaboration with the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO, this strategy aims to reshape Belize's economic structure and enhance performance through sustainable practices. Special emphasis is being placed on technology transfer and workforce training to bolster Belize's industrial capacity and promote environmentally friendly industries. The Ministry of Health and Wellness also presented plans to develop a national digital strategy for Belize's health sector. This initiative seeks to guide the nation's digital transformation in healthcare, with support from international partners including the World Health Organization, WHO, the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, SECOMISCA, and the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB. The strategy aims to improve healthcare delivery through innovative digital solutions. On June 13, 2025, Cabinet approved the Belize National Land Use Policy 2025. This comprehensive policy outlines government strategies for the sustainable use, development, and management of Belize's land resources. It is designed to facilitate informed decision-making to mitigate risks associated with natural disasters and climate change, ensuring environmental resilience. Cabinet recommended the introduction of a subscription motion to increase Belize's shares in the Central American Bank for Economic Development by 4,000 B shares during the next House of Representatives sitting. This move is expected to boost Belize's access to vital development funds to support national projects. Further, Cabinet endorsed the upcoming introduction of the Occupational Safety and Health Bill and proposed amendments to the Education Rules Act 2025 and the School Teachers Pensions Act 2025. These amendments aim to enable the government to pay full salaries and allowances to staff at government-aided schools with an estimated 5-year cost of approximately $68.78 million. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Friday, June 27th, here on Ctv3 News and Face FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/CTV3 Belize News or our YouTube channel at CTV3 News BZ. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.